Good morning, Magical Mud! No, just kidding. It is good morning, and welcome to the Chaos Corner. I got Boo here. Boo, look up, say hi. You gotta look over here. Well, there's his gorgeous legs, because he decided to get up too high. Yeah, you're too high, they can't see you now. No, okay, down. Thank you. Alright, he's all settled now. His dad's right behind me on the bed. Alright, we are still doing the wolf. I've gotten most of the color on the wolf done. I'm going to go back over and do some dry brushing of white, just to kind of crisp up the white areas, kind of like how crisp it is here on the ears and around the eye. I kind of want some of that crispness down through the fur. But before I do that, because I don't want to be holding on to his head and smushing that beautiful white around while I'm working on the base, so I'm going to do some woodwork, so to speak, on the base and get that wood done. Now, the cool thing is this is going to be several shades of browns. And last night I had said I would be using red brown, caramel, probably some Mediterranean, probably some black currant, and even some pumpkin. This is the base picture that I'm working off of. I don't like how the wood is almost the same color as the wolf, so I'm gonna just differentiate enough of a difference and almost go for a redwood look on this without being too red, hopefully. But again, you can always tone it down by going over with some other colors. So I'm going to start with red brown over top of the Mediterranean that I've already done. The Mediterranean is what I used to antique or first coat everything. So again, you're going to have your color poured out. You're going to have paper towels at the ready. You're going to work in smaller sections. And with this red brown, you're going to go over the whole thing of wood. And on these driftwood pieces, you want to take your wood color up into the carving area just a little bit, because you want to make it really seem like the wolf is emerging from the wood. Put the color on and wipe it back. You're going to do this over the whole piece again. Just the wood part, I should say, not the whole piece, but all the wood. And again, you're going to work in small sections, so don't go beyond what your paintbrush can actually fill in with a first loading. You don't want to go back and reload and put more on and do a bigger section, because then that makes it a little harder to wipe back your color. See, that's already, oh, I always have to, that's already starting to look more of a redwood than just blended with the wolf. Depending on how my color layers go, I might stop at the caramel because I'm already kind of liking the color. And again, I'm not going for a complete redwood look because the customer did ask for it to look similar to the picture that we have posted as our color picture. So I don't want to use too much artistic license and change the color too much because of what the customer is wanting. But if it was my piece, I'd go all out redwood coloration. I have, in the albums, I have, I think it's titled like Our Painted Pieces or something along that lines. And I have a log. It's just a log that's supposed to be for like displaying other pieces on. I have a log that I did, and I did it up in like redwood coloration, and I just love it. And it was one of my highest liked posts that I've ever put online, so I'm really proud of it. And I believe that was my first ever, well, besides the piece I did in a class, that was my first ever, we'll call it solo piece that I did in Fashion Hues. And again, if you guys are there, go ahead and make a comment. I hope I can see it, but if nothing else, I see the comments when I'm done and I've closed out the live. Something that you can do when you're working with the Fashion Hues is, if you're gonna have to put more color in a certain area, you can wipe towards that area and it'll drag the color into that area for you. It may not get it as dark as you want it, but it'll help get color there. And you may be like, oh, I actually like that look, that effect that it does, and leave it at that. Probably gonna have to put a little bit more color out on my palette. I think maybe next week, when I don't have a commission piece that I need to work on, I might do a video on how to make a wet palette, because I think even even the fashion hues would benefit from having a wet palette to work off of. And I like doing some non-ceramic things on here too, and I think everybody else enjoys seeing some non-ceramic ideas that can be used towards ceramic. You know, you can even translate them into doing ceramics. So, just to kind of give you a close-up, kind of an update. Now see how, oops, always, there we go. See how I didn't quite go inside this knot very much, because I liked how dark it was in there from the original color that I put on. So I didn't make sure I like jammed it into that, and that gives you some different depth and coloration. You got some what I call paint goober going on right there. It's like where the paint gets kind of dried out and gunked up. There we go. And again, I'm taking the color into the wolf edge just a little bit, because I want it to look like it's emerging from the wood. That is one piece, not two pieces. But by not going into the, like, not scraping out of the nooks and the crannies, gets you all that depth and everything. Need a little bit more red brown. I get into a rip-roaring mess. You know, and if you're the kind of person that you want to do this, but you don't like how messy your hands get, you can wear gloves. It won't change the outlook of the piece, but your hands will stay clean. I think my brush is getting a little gunked, so So I'm just going to put a dab of blending medium over by the color I'm using. And I'm going to kind of work it into my brush. Kind of breathe a little bit of life into the paint that's in the brush. Now, of course, I've just done too big of an area, so I need to make myself stop and white pack. Now, something else to keep in mind is most times you're doing this for your own personal thing, but sometimes people will ask you, they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Will you can I buy it? Can I have you paint one for me?" Do not sell yourself short. You do a disservice to yourself and to the art community. Make sure you get paid for your time, your supplies, and the fact that you learn to do this. You know, you may not take paid classes, you may not be a teacher or certified or anything like that, but you still took your time to paint a piece. And it takes time to paint a piece. I mean, this is the, what, 4th or 5th video in this wolf that I'm doing. You know, don't sell yourself short. By the time all is said and done, if I was not doing this on a video, I might have been able to do it just a little bit faster, but not really. It takes 4 hours, about 4 hours, to really do a piece well. You know, and it takes several colors, it takes blending and all that. So make sure that if somebody says, "Oh, I want to buy that from you," okay, fine, you can buy it from me, but you have to pay me. And, you know, make sure it's not like pennies. You want to get paid for what you do. So as a general rule, if somebody asks me to paint something for them, my general rule is starting pay is twice what bisque is. So like if the bisque is $10, I will charge $20 total. And that's, you know, just a basic paint job, couple of colors, not using any kind of specialty paint. And even though my Fashion Hues is a special paint, I don't consider it, it's not what I consider a specialty paint. Because it is in the standard paint line, basically. But what I consider specialty paints is like the metallics, the pearls, the iridescence, the color changers, the glitters. Because those take whole other steps to make sure that you get really good coloration with those. And then if it's glitter, you get glitter everywhere, even if it's glitter paint. You know, it's the COVID-19 of crafts. So, there is my wood base with the two color shades so far of Mediterranean and red brown. I think I'm going to do kind of like a light dry brushing of the caramel, and that might be it, because I don't want to do too much of a redwood look. So I'm gonna most likely not use blackcurrant or pumpkin, but if I was going to make this a redwood look, I would use the blackcurrant and the pumpkin in that order, and then the caramel. Okay. Quiet. Now, the caramel, I'm going to use more in certain places. So like in here on the underside where it looks like it's been chiseled, that's going to be more of the inside of the wood and not the bark. So inside of a tree is always lighter coloration than the outside. So that's why I'm going to do a dry brush of caramel. Well, kind of a dry brush of caramel. My version of dry brush. Because I hate how slow dry brushing is. Because you have to really, you know, build your color up slowly to get it to show. I had thought about trying to do some chalking on this piece, but I have never done chalking, honestly, and I don't think I am brave enough to try something that new on a commission piece. But just check something. There we go. If I had liked it the way it was with me just brushing the color on, I would have left it. But I wasn't liking the muddiness of it, I guess. So now I'm wiping it back just a little bit, and it's leaving that caramel color behind in a few of the areas. So what do you guys think? Ah, I laid it down in the wet red currant from last night. So now I'm going to do some caramel in this area where it looks more like it's broken away. see the slight variation in that. Now I'm going to go around and put it in strategic places where it looks like it might have been chiseled off or broke off. Now something I didn't do last night was I had a big puddle of the brown and it's still kind of tacky, so if I needed it I could probably put some blending medium and kind of breathe more life back into it. But if I had covered this palette with some saran wrap, that brown would not have dried out that much, and I would have been able to use it today to kind of like go in and do some brown strokes here and there, which I still might do. And all I'm doing is I'm going and putting the caramel where I feel like the wood would be a little bit lighter than the rest. Wood is not just one color. But here's why I said I didn't want to do the white first. Something else that you can do to kind of keep your hands protected if you don't want to wear gloves but you don't want to get as messy as I get is if you have a piece of cotton cloth, like an old t-shirt that you cut up, keep one a little bit bigger and hold your piece in the cotton cloth. And again, I'm just going and putting the caramel where I feel like the wood would be a little lighter, like there's more chisel marks right in through here. And sure, I could have not put the red brown up through here and just done the caramel. It would have given you a different coloration, but I feel like you'd be missing some of the depth to the wood. I think I'm gonna try to breathe life into this brown that's out here. I'm gonna use my caramel brush with the brown, and I'm gonna brush on a little bit of brown into the red brown area just to kind of tone it down just a little bit, because again, I'm not going specifically for a look at how quick that came up. It looked like it was solid right there, like right there, and then I just mixed it with a little bit of that blender, and it basically brought it right back. Still a little goopy, so I probably still need to really put some more blender into it, but I think it's to the point where I can work with it, so I'm gonna run with it and we'll see what it does. If I don't like it, I can always just wipe it away. Oh, I need to go back and put some caramel there. It's okay. I can do that. See how that toned that red down just enough? You don't want to take it completely away. Just enough. Alright, now I need, where's my caramel? Caramel, here you are. I'll just get a different brush. Again, I'm going to do one of those do as I say, not as I do, because I'm going to take straight from the lid. And I'm going to brush pretty heavy right here on this piece. Because this part right here, where it kind of flips up on the end, that is like a piece of broken wood exposed. So this would be part of the inside of a branch of a tree or something. So we want this to match more along the lines of in there. And for this little bit, I didn't want to have to pour out onto my plate again, because then I would have ended up pouring out too much. Yes, even I pour out too much. There we go. So there's the wood all done. Now the other thing is, using a piece of cotton cloth to hold on to your piece, you don't end up leaving fingerprints behind on pieces either. So now I'm going to clean my hands. I'm going to have to use a couple here, so I don't want to have to go and wash my hands just yet. I wash my hands so many times a day. So, for those of you who work with bisque, who pour, clean your own, fire, paint, or for those of you that just paint, I guess it really, for anybody, what is your favorite soap to use? What's your favorite lotion to use so that you don't get your hands all dried out from all the cleaning? And obviously you wouldn't use lotion until after you were done with your bisque, because you don't want the bisque sucking in the lotion, because then you can't paint. My hands are still kind of orange. Let's try one more, because all I'm going for is no color transfer, really. They'll probably get orange again from touching the base. But I do have cloth. I'll get some. Hold on a minute. So here's a piece of t-shirt. Here's the proof. There's the seam from the bottom hem. I just cut, this is probably the back of a t-shirt. I cut from under the armhole so that I have from there down, unless there's a graphic on the shirt, then I cut just below the graphic and use from there down on the front, and then on the back I use the whole back, of course, unless there's a graphic. So I am pretty much done with all my browns and everything. I have to really clean my brushes. I have done a video on brush cleaning. Feel free to scroll back through all the videos and find the video on brush cleaning. I'm going to put the white paint out on a new plate, because this, I want it to be really nice and crisp and white. And just a little dribble. That's not even a dime size of paint. Now, for dry brushing, you want a good stiff brush, and there are brands out there for dry brushing. Let's see, hold on. When I was at one of the ceramic conferences, I was told that this set is a really good brush set, and it is from artistpaintbrush.com. I'm not sure if that's the actual dealer that was selling these at the Midwest Ceramic Show last year. But it's white bristles set APB105S, and it's short-handled dry brushes, and it includes flats and rounds. So this is supposed to be a really good set for dry brushing. Obviously, I haven't opened it yet. Okay, with dry brushing, again, you load your brush and then you kind of take a lot of it back out. And you build your color up slowly. But I'm always in too much of a hurry to do it slowly. So I always end up doing it a little heavier than maybe what I should. I'm sorry, I probably haven't been doing this to where you guys can see it. But I think it's more of a matter of a light touch. And making sure you've blended your brush strokes. What I did is I just painted a line along there, and then I'm going to bring my brush back up and feather it out. So that it blends in and doesn't have a solid straight line. See, like that's a super crisp line right there. And that's not what we want, because fur is not a crisp straight line. So you start into your color and you drag it down and out. Checking to see which eye, one eye shows up more white than the other, and when I'm looking from here to the screen I get confused as to which one, so I'm touching the eye that isn't showing up as white as the other one so that I know which one to work on. Again, I'm going in with basically a line. And then I'll go back out and feather it. So that it looks more natural. All right. Oh, one more thing. Need those canines just a little bit wider. There we go. Now I believe according to rules for, like if this was going to get put into a contest, your bottom has to be painted too. So I think I will just add a little bit more blending medium to the brown. And paint the bottom brown. And then the other step, the last step that you need to do is to seal this with a sealer. Now my go-to sealer is Rust-Oleum 2x coverage. And several reasons, I've said this on many videos already, but several reasons is, one, you can find it anywhere. It's at Walmart, it's at Lowe's, I'm even pretty positive it's at Home Depot, it's at the craft stores, and it's inexpensive. The other reason is it comes with a UV protector in it already, and even if it's not going to be a piece that's outside, you need to have UV protection on your pieces, because over time even inside lighting will deteriorate the color of your piece. So if you spray it with a spray that has UV protection, you don't have to worry about the colors fading as much. I thought I was done. There, I think I'm done now. Alright, that's it. It's the end of the project. I'm leaving it laying on its side because I painted the bottom. And I really like how that looks. Alright, leave your comments below. Let me know what you use as hand soap and lotion for after you are done with your ceramics. Have a good day, everyone.